I'm Kat.
And I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Classy,
a tipsy night class teaching the oddities and curiosities you never learned in school.
What are you teaching for this learning journey, Hayley?
I will be teaching us about a secretive U.S. government program that has saved about 7,500 people and their 14,000 family members.
Ooh, that's a lot of people.
Yes, it is. It's a controversial program.
Witness protection?
Yes, ma'am. But I didn't tell you.
The title of the episode told everyone else, so I'm not spoiling anything.
I'm impressed you pulled that, Kat.
Well, the family members is what cued me in.
Code.
Mm-hmm.
What are you teaching us?
I'm going to tell you about a Satanist and his Catholic boyfriend who ran away into the woods to start a new life in the wilderness.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, well, some other stuff happens too that's less amazing, but
Details,
that part is fun. Yeah, we'll get to the details.
Yeah, the cover of the book looks good. It's when you start reading it, you're like, eee.
Once you get past that first 100 pages and pressure starts to build.
It does. That's why we only watch the first quarter of movies.
Yeah, it's like on The Office when Aaron's like, I like the first part of horror movies when everyone's happy. Me too.
Oh my God. You know that trend on TikTok where people are like, this would send, a Victorian child into a coma. Mm-hmm. We were just talking about the movie Barbarian, and that would send Aaron from The Office into a coma.
Oh my God. It sent me into a coma.
I need more.
That movie, I know. It was so good. If anyone has recommendations that are as good as that movie, send them our way.
Please do. I like being horrified.
Me too. It's been a while since I was really scared from a movie.
I know.
I can't remember the last time.
My last time was Barbarian, although I was kind of late to the game with it, so.
I miss when you were a kid and you'd watch a horror movie and be up scared all night. That hasn't happened to me in a really long time.
Yeah, I didn't really watch horror movies as a kid.
I remember watching a movie and then being terrified to go to sleep by myself for weeks. That's how I want to feel.
Oh my gosh, my anxiety did that alone. It was if I hide under my blanket, intruders won't come and get me. My parents were really big on stranger danger and, my mom's really paranoid and cautious, overly cautious.
I wish my mom was like that. She's the opposite, where she would leave our doors unlocked, windows open all night, and I would be having a panic attack. I always thought someone was going to come in and kidnap my little brother, so I would go through the house after my parents went to sleep and lock everything, and then I'd get in trouble for shutting the windows.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You were just a little grown up.
I know.
Yeah, you were doing that. I remember one night my parents went to a get together after we had gone to bed. They had these walkie-talkies for us. I must have been, 6 or 7 years old, and it was 2 houses down. They were hanging out with the neighbors. We had these walkie-talkies, but then the reception from the walkie-talkies interfered with some truckers' walkie-talkies. So there are these trucker voices coming through into my room. I ran out of the house barefoot down the street in my pajamas, left my little brother. He's 3 or 4 years old. I come around to the backyard where all the adults are drunk and by the fire, whatever. They're like, what the hell are you
stupid idiot.
I know. And it was my fault because I left my baby brother.
That would be terrifying, though.
Yeah, it was absolutely terrifying.
One of the first times my parents left me home at night when they went and did something.
At
I think
night.
I was, because I could babysit during the day.
Yeah.
But then this time they went out with their friends for a long time. I was in 6th or 7th grade, and I watched The Skeleton Key because it was on TV, and I haven't seen it since, but at the time it was really fucking scary, and I just sat on the couch wanting to cry until they got home.
Oh no. Did you at least put something else nice on?
Yeah, I did, but I'm sure it was the nanny on Nick at Night.
The trauma was done.
But, yeah, Fran can only do so much after you've watched that movie and you're 11 by yourself.
Oh, poor thing. I don't even know what that movie is, so I have no context.
I don't know if it's good or bad, but it scared me when I was a child.
Okay, we'll take it.
Well, what are you drinking, Hayley?
We both have our Boda boxes.
I know. Yours is Red Volution and mine is Bold Cabernet Sauvignon.
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 That's what I'm going to name my firstborn.
Ew.
Sauvignon.
Sauvignon. And instead of like a normal nickname like Sav, you could call him Yon.
They'd be like, is it French? No, it's made up.
Like it might be. I don't know.
Yon. Yeah.
Yon.
How would you spell it? IGNON?
Yeah.
Yon.
Yon.
It's like, yeah, you have to act like you're yawning. Yawn.
Yon. Cute.
It's pretty. I like it. It's a baby yawn.
I'm in a subreddit called Tragedy, but it's spelled like trad and then like EIGH, and it's all about bad baby names. It gives me a lot of joy.
Oh, it's so good. I feel so bad for some of these kids.
Me too.
There was one time that there was a child's name, and with a coworker, we were just like really impressed by how long the name was. And we kind of played a game to see. I was like, I bet the whole alphabet is in that child's name. And they were only missing like 5 letters.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really impressive.
The most iconic bad name is Absidy. ABCD.
Yes, I knew an Absidy.
Really? And
yes.
She spelled it ABCD?
Yeah. ABCD. Our old neighbor's cousin.
Wow.
Was Absidy.
That's unfortunate.
I know.
I try not to judge people's names, but that's a rough one.
It makes it easy to learn how to spell.
That's true. You can just learn the alphabet and how to spell your name all at once.
Exactly.
It's
You're
easier.
2-timing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're thinking ahead here. Okay, good idea. I'm going to name my child Absidy.
Absidiog.
Is Absidy a name before people started spelling it that dumb way?
I don't.
Or is that completely made
doubt
up?
it, right?
Okay. I would think not, but it seems like a random thing to just make up. I don't know.
People are crazy. I don't know. The alphabet has been around a long time.
That's true. It just makes me think of Ab City, like that would be the name of a gym.
Ab City.
Ab City. I don't know.
It does sound like I'm looking up Absidy name origin. Okay, from Wikipedia. The name is derived from the first 5 letters of the English alphabet in order and has no other origin or meaning.
Oh my God.
So I guess Wikipedia just said, we don't fucking know.
When people say they hate millennials, it's because we made up shit like this.
This is when we can claim Gen Z.
That's true. I claim Gen Z whenever convenient.
Yes.
We're literally right on the edge.
We are. I mean, we're our own really like micro generation. The
True.
Millennials.
I really felt like a Gen Z when I attended a wedding with Alec this weekend and interacted with all his friends, and they were talking about how the youths are addicted to their cell phones and really sounded like cranky old men.
Yeah, one of them is a college professor, and
Yeah.
someone was like, what's the difference between when we were in college and them? And he's like, the phones.
Yeah, but then he went on a big diatribe about phones.
That makes sense. And I can't say what I would do in that situation, but as a professor, it's like, you guys are paying me to be here. You're paying for this education. If you want to be on your phone or not paying attention, then don't.
Yeah, for me, college kids are grown-ups.
Yeah, they are.
They're over 18. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, it does suck when you're trying to teach and people aren't listening to you. I know what that's like, and it sucks. So I'm not judging him for his cell phone policy. I'm judging the group for their old man
passion.
rant.
And his wife was like, babe, everybody's addicted to their phone. So
that's
Yeah,
true.
the women were the voice of reason in this conversation.
that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is addicted, especially these little kids that I see coming in because they're like raised on
Yeah,
it
the
now.
iPad kids.
I can't even get out my computer to print a document at the end of meetings before a kid is like
Really?
on it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, especially if they have, maybe like something going on developmentally where that's like their main source of entertainment or the only thing that they like, quote unquote.
Right, or
yeah,
that their
they're like,
parents can use to placate them.
Yes, exactly. It's wild.
That is wild. Yeah, luckily, I mean, my school has a no cell phone policy, and shockingly, it actually works. So I haven't had to deal with much of that firsthand, but
Or you might have to
Can
threaten
see.
them.
they do have laptops, but I
For
don't know.
learning purposes only.
Right, that's how that works. Always.
I
In class today, somebody kept making like weird sounds with their laptop, inappropriate sounds. They have all these websites where you can like click buttons and they make noises, and I got fed up with it, so I grabbed everyone's laptop and I was going through all their histories to figure out who it was. And one girl, it wasn't her, but she had all these YouTube videos in her history, and so I was playing each one to see if that was what was making the sound. And I don't know how they find this shit. It was like the weirdest videos I've ever seen. None of them were like inappropriate or anything, but
they were all
weird.
like, oh my God, Miss Barnhart knows how to go through the history.
Yeah, I know. But I don't know where this story was going.
That makes me think there was this Chrome extension when we were in college of Shia LaBeouf, that video where he's like, do it. Yeah. Just do it. You could get that installed, and I forget what the key combination was, but you could put it on Chrome, and then when you press the keys, Shia LaBeouf would show up on your screen and like go all around and like do that thing.
You told me about this.
Yeah, and then it crashed my laptop.
Wow. Terrible.
Awful. Thanks, Shy.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm so ready.
Okay, I think I'm going first.
You are.
All right. Charles Scudder was born on October 6, 1926. So is that a Scorpio?
I don't know.
He gives big Scorpio energy, so let's say that's what he is. No, Scorpio's November. I don't know what he is. Doesn't matter. He was always extremely intelligent. He was a talented musician, artist, and actor, but ultimately chose to pursue science in his academics. He earned degrees in zoology, languages, and chemistry from the University of Wisconsin before getting his PhD in pharmacology from Loyola University in Chicago.
Oh.
Nalik and I were just in Chicago, so it's a fun cameo.
Chicago.
Yeah. What is that from?
My brain.
All right.
I need Adderall.
He stayed in Chicago and at Loyola, becoming a professor and research scientist. He also purchased an old mansion in the city. It wasn't in the best part of town. It's described as like a little bit dilapidated. Think like big old stone Victorian mansion. Like, it was fucking gorgeous. He bought it for the house. It was built in 1904 and designed by a student of Frank Lloyd Wright, dream home. But by the early 70s, the house was feeling empty and the competitive culture of academia oppressive. Charles had 4 sons who had long grown up and moved away. He'd also been married twice, but each marriage had ended. And Charles was a gay man, so it's not really much of a surprise that his marriages to women didn't last. But he had another love interest keeping him company in the house.
Do we know why those marriages ended? Did he know that he was gay?
I have no details on that because he wasn't really a noteworthy person until he passed away. So it's not like there's a bunch of records about his life. I'm sure it might be somewhere. I don't know the reasons that his marriages failed. I don't know if there was infidelity or if he came out at the time. I'm not sure. But he was in a relationship. So in 1959, he hired a cook and housekeeper named Joseph Odom, who everyone called Joey. Joey was 12 years younger than Charles and had only a 5th grade education. But about him, Charles once wrote, quote, "He'd learned far more about the world than I had with all my degrees. And somewhere along the line, he developed a talent for whipping up meals fit for a king." Oh. So by all accounts, Joey was a lovely person and an amazing cook.
I'm very fond of the name Joey.
It's cute, right?
It's a cute name. Every Joey I've met has been a solid person.
I don't think I've ever met a Joey. It just makes me think of Friends.
You're missing out.
Guess so. I've met a lot of Josephs.
Yeah. It's different, though, if they go by Joseph.
True.
It's
Broseph.
just different. Yeah, it's Broseph.
The two fell in love and dreamed of leaving the pressures of life and running away together somewhere they could just live off the grid, enjoy nature, good food, and each other. They were a little bit of free spirits.
Get in line, bro.
For real.
Don't we all want that?
I know. Literally, Hayley, when you hear what they do, it is dream life.
Oh
like,
my God.
It's amazing. In 1976, they got the chance to do this when Charles's mother sadly passed away, but left him a small inheritance. That helps a little bit.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Spend it.
She died anyway. Around that time, Charles's youngest son had also died, so he was just, ready for a fresh start. Probably also wanted a distraction, something to do. The plan was to buy a remote piece of property and then build their dream home by hand. Charles began searching for the best possible place. He said he wanted, quote, someplace in hilly country with the glamour of 4 seasons, but without super cold winters. Don't we all? That's perfect.
I'm trying to think, where could this be? I don't know, somewhere in the Midwest? In the South?
They're
Tennessee?
already in the Midwest has cold winters. Yeah, they're going to go down south. He also wanted, quote, a good supply of pure water and wood for heating and cooking, and most important, with a measure of isolation. I think being that they were gay and this is the early 70s, they just wanted to be themselves without having people around them all the time to judge them and possibly perpetrate violence against them.
Totally reasonable to want to love who you love and be who you are.
Yes. He found a place that seemingly met all the criteria in the mountains of North Georgia in Chattooga County. There was a 40-acre lot of wild land for sale. When Charles first drove out there and viewed it, he found, quote, hummingbirds, whippoorwills, butterflies, bobcats, great oaks, fungi, and rolling mountain wood. He was in love now for the second time.
What is rolling mountain wood?
I think just like rolling trees on hills. It could be something else.
A massive piece of lumber.
Oh, there, yeah, a massive log. He swiftly bought up the property and began planning the move.
I'm sorry, you saying massive log. Today I got home and a foot from the litter box, there's a giant turd.
I hate when they poop right outside the litter box.
Our cats,
like, what are you trying to say?
Our cats never do that, but we figured out what happened was one of them was in the litter box when I turned the key and like opened the door, and they got scared. So we think that he like leapt out mid shit and just left the turd
My God.
on the floor. And I was like, Tommy, what is that? He's like, I don't know. What is it?
I woke up the other morning and went in the room that has the litter box, and it was like a poop slug had crawled all over the room. I think one of the cats like was constipated or something, and a turd was halfway out its butt, and then it slid around all over the floor. And there was just like poop smeared all over, and that was a fun thing to deal with at 6:30 a.m.
Yep, love that for you.
Super fun.
What did you call it?
A poop slug. On October 6, 1976, his 50th birthday, Charles officially resigned from his position at the university. He sold or gave away most of what he owned, and he was a collector of antiques, particularly from the Baroque period, in that big old mansion. So he had a lot of shit. He's now selling all of it. He won't have any space for it because they're going to be living in a small camper until the house is built. And also, even when it's built, it won't have electricity. So
Are they going to get electricity, or
they're living off the grid?
If you should choose to forego electricity,
they are water well and wood stove folks.
Okay,
that's the only part of this story I'm not down for.
Immediately, no.
By January, they were ready for the move. Charles and Joey loaded up their Jeep and small camper with what they'd saved, including Charles's prized golden harp, camping supplies, and their 2 beloved English Mastiff dogs.
Oh.
One of the dogs' names was Beelzebub.
That is a great name.
Yeah, isn't that so cute?
It's like there are 2 types of people in this world. The people who have like the baby names list on their phone, and then the people who have the pet names list on their phone.
Beelzebub, like for a big slobbery English Mastiff.
Yeah.
Great name.
It just makes me think of a huge ladybug. That's what comes to my mind.
Not the devil?
No.
Oh, okay. That's what comes to my mind.
Is that the devil?
Yeah. Beelzebub is a name for the devil.
Never heard of that before.
Like, it's such a cute name.
It is. It's
It is
very
a cute name, but
it's like
yeah,
Lucy
it's the devil.
for Lucifer.
Mhm. Yeah.
Devil, but make it chic.
Devil but cute. Devil but with a fun nickname. They braved the 10-hour drive from Illinois to Georgia, even passing through a blizzard before arriving in Chattooga County. They climbed up their hilltop in the car, and as they went up there, they noticed the rotting corpse of a horse blocking a logging trail.
That's a bad sign.
Yes, this could definitely be taken as a bad omen, but they were in high spirits and just named this Dead Horse Road.
Oh,
Let's just give it a fun name.
Get the cauldron. We need to boil this shit immediately.
I need a horse skull. Oh my God. I actually need a horse skull.
Do?
I actually really want one.
For some reason, I just don't see that for you.
Why? I love skulls. I have
several.
several.
You do, but you also love horses. I don't know. You did.
And I love possums and raccoons, but I have their
know,
skulls.
That's true. It just doesn't match for me in my head.
Well, I don't want anyone to intentionally kill a horse.
Of course. Would you?
But
like,
if I found a horse skull from a naturally
take it.
deceased horse,
what if if Duke ever dies?
I don't know if I could have a horse.
A little too close.
Yeah, it might just make me sad to look at it.
Yeah,
I like the idea of like memorializing my pets, but I don't know.
A little too much.
It's a little much.
What if you got a horse skull and put on some like fake eyelashes? You yassified it.
No, I don't want a yassified horse skull. I want a natural, appreciating nature horse skull.
Okay. Stuck up.
Through the worst of the winter, they slept in their car and a tent before I think it was just actually a few days later, the weather warmed up enough to start building.
Winter is gone.
Well, winter was like really bad and then it was fine.
48 long hours.
It's Georgia. It doesn't stay cold very long.
He's like, oh my God, I literally feel like we're the Donner Party.
Well, they came from Chicago, so I like to think that they thought it was no big deal.
I hope so.
They cleared the trees with a chainsaw, dug a well, and hand dug the foundation of their palace. When that was done, they began laying brick using medieval building techniques, constructing an incredible castle-like home.
Did they have experience in this?
I don't think so. I think they kind of just went for it.
Oh.
I mean, Charles was an academic, so I'm sure he had read a lot of books and stuff about how to do this, but they just, I think, kind of went for it. It definitely looks a little bit crude, but it's nice. Like, if you look at pictures of it, it looks like a castle. By summer, they were done with the first floor and able to move in. Charles named the place Corpsewood Manor, inspired by the mangled, dead, leafless trees that peppered the property.
Beautiful.
Now, I don't think all the trees were dead, but I think there was like a weird number of dead trees, and he kind of liked them.
For him to notice, which is concerning.
Yeah, and I think you're touching on something important, and that's that Charles's naming choices kind of err toward the macabre.
Yeah, which I can't blame him. I also feel the same way. I'm very interested in death and dead things in a way, not in like a serial killer way.
No, and Charles was the same. Like, he just had a goth streak, and he was also a dues-paying member of the Church of Satan. So Charles was a Satanist. That's what he would tell you if you asked him his religious affiliation. And I know you know this, Hayley, but if our listeners don't, Satanists do not actually worship the devil. They're atheists. And Charles was no different. He was an atheist. He's not performing black magic. He's not literally worshiping the devil. He's not doing anything like you might imagine a Satanist would do. He's just a quirky goth atheist who really liked satanic imagery and goth shit. I mean, who doesn't?
Are typically really good people. Their beliefs are awesome.
They're pretty chill. He decorated Corpsewood Manor with stained glass that he made himself. Imagery on the glass featured pentagrams. One had a portrait of Baphomet, who is the face of the Church of Satan. Above the entrance of the home, he built a large, I don't know if he built it, maybe he bought it, but there was a big cement pink gargoyle over the doorway.
I could see you having that at your house.
I would love to have something like that. Inside the castle, you would find things like human skulls and vials of LSD, both of which he had taken from the university before leaving.
Oops.
On the side of his black Jeep, he painted large pentagrams, and this was the Jeep that he would use to drive into the small town of Treon, Georgia, whenever he needed anything from the grocery store.
Yeah, they loved that.
They did not. So this is conservative rural Georgia, and rumors quickly spread about the gay Satan worshippers who had moved up the road. Not great. Obviously. I mean, I'd probably talk about them too and then ask if I could please be their friend, because they sound really cool.
We're having game night on Saturday. Do you guys want to come?
You want to come join us for Bachelor Night? It's fun, I swear.
Please, I swear. The show is fine, but the commentary with your friends just what makes it so fun.
It's worth it, okay?
It's worth it. There's going to be snacks.
It's worth it for the podcast you can listen to that analyze it afterward.
Yes, that's the only reason. Games of Roses, if you guys don't watch.
At the entrance of the property, Charles hung a sign that read, "Beware of the Thing." This was an Addams Family reference. He was a big fan, but of course rumors swirled that it was actually about a demon they had conjured to guard the property.
It's about the rolling wood.
Yes. There's also not much to do in the area, so people, mainly teenagers, would like go on drives to see Corpsewood Manor and like probably dare their friends to get close to it, shit like that. Charles and Joey were always really nice to everyone who showed up. They were, of course, private, like they don't want anyone trespassing, but they were always friendly. Of course, then people would go back to their friends and report seeing crazy shit like robed figures and seances and demons, whatever. In reality, the men were living their best lives. Joey loved to cook, and he had fun getting creative with the wood stove. He also planted a rose garden. Charles spent his time playing his harp, making art, and enjoying nature. He once wrote of a typical day, quote, "At 10 a.m., we had tea in the gazebo, and I designed a new chicken house that I plan to build soon. Tonight, I may practice my harp, or perhaps I'll sit in the courtyard and listen to the tree frogs and whippoorwills while bats fly and clouds drift across the full moon. The world that's around me now is fresh, quiet, and very beautiful."
How different our world could be and look if every human could just create and exist. Oh man, it's beautiful and heartbreaking in a way. I'm really glad that they got the opportunity to do this.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, it sounds like an absolute dream, and this is like pure just, you know, living in nature. Like when you think about it, like he didn't have anything. He had gas.
He didn't have a flushing toilet.
Probably not. Yeah, he probably had an outhouse. He had gas lamps, a wood stove, like no modern fixtures. They were just doing art and spending time in nature. Sliving. They also loved having guests over and entertaining. They made friends with some locals who brought them fruit, which they brewed into their famous homemade wine, which they liked to offer anyone who came for a visit.
I would be asking to move in.
Me too. I mean, wait until you hear this next part. Joey would cook their guests elaborate dinners while Charles entertained them with conversation and harp playing. Their good friend Candy Grogan remembers candlelit dinner parties, homemade 5-course meals, and wine served in silver goblets. She called it a fantasy.
Okay. If you know, you know, but I know you don't know, Kat. You have to watch The Last of Us.
We started watching it.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
I think are just one, maybe 2 episodes in. One
episode in? Okay,
yeah.
What do you think?
I really like it. I'm definitely going to watch more.
Okay.
It's like oftentimes we don't get into bed until like 10 and then it's too late to start a show, but that's an hour long. But
well, once you get to the
keep
episode,
watching.
You'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay. I'm excited for some candlelit dinner feasting action.
Oh, yes. It's very good. Anyone who's listening right now who knows what I'm talking is like, yes. Yeah, I think it's like the 3rd episode.
Okay, cool. I love an ambiance scene.
Yeah,
that was like one of
episode.
The best parts of Game of Thrones whenever they'd have a feast in the castle and it looked so cozy.
Want to hear something crazy? I was talking to my mom about, which, you know, my mom is kind of like a unique person. And her and I don't always see eye to eye on things. And one of those things is movies and TV shows. Sometimes they overlap, but not really. We were talking about Game of Thrones. I'm like, oh, I really need to finish that. So I restarted it recently.
Nice.
And she's like, yeah, I watched that for a long time, but I just kind of lost interest after the Red Wedding.
What? That's when it gets good.
She lost interest after the Red Wedding.
What?
Yeah.
Also, you didn't watch it for a long time if that's when you stopped. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I thought
weird.
it was so interesting. I
Yeah,
know.
that's like when it hooks you, really. That's so weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, encourage her to keep watching.
I think I will.
Okay.
Be like, we can have a watch party, Mom.
There you go. There were also sometimes after dinner activities. Near the house, Joey and Charles built a 3-story chicken coop. The first and second floor, definitely the first floor, probably the second floor, held chickens. But on the third floor, there was a single room with a few mattresses on the floor, a space heater, some gas lamps, and pornography. The space was lovingly called the Pink Room because it was painted pink, and the room was used to host guests and sometimes engage in sexual activity. Those who have enjoyed the room maintain that everything that happened in there was consensual. It was a space to enjoy yourself and experiment without judgment. There was reportedly even a guest book where you could sign and write about your experience and also record your sexual preferences so people could like look up your name and see what you like.
Oh my God. They're like, no. You don't sign with a pen. Here's a stamp.
What?
Or an ink pad, and you stamp
your
whatever.
What do you stamp in the ink pad?
Maybe it's your butt cheek. Maybe it's, you give a little kiss. It's a sex room.
Okay, that's an idea.
Is that vulgar? Is that too much?
When you start your sex room, you can have that. But of course, sex parties weren't the only or even the main reason people came to the manor. They mostly just liked hanging out with the owners and enjoying the land. One frequent visitor was Avery Brock. Avery was a troubled teen. His father had kicked him out when he was young, and in 1982, when he was 17, he got permission from the couple to hunt on their land. And he wasn't the only one. I mean, they had 40 acres of woods, so I think a lot of the townspeople would come in and hunt sometimes. And between hunts, Avery would sometimes hang out with Charles and Joey. He would drink their homemade wine with them. Some sources say he may have also joined in activities in the Pink Room. We're not sure, though. Through his interactions with the couple, Avery got the impression that they were rich and that there were money and valuables hidden in the manor.
Yeah, he's not wrong. Right?
Well, he is wrong. They didn't have anything expensive.
Oh, but they're totally out of money?
Well, they're not like out of money, but they have like some money in a bank. It's not like they have like treasure hidden in the castle, like he thinks. I mean, they spent like most of their money buying this land, and now they're living super frugally. Like they trade vegetables with neighbors and make their own food, cut their own wood for fuel, stuff like that. But he thinks they're rich. He tells his roommate, who's 30-year-old Tony West, and Tony was also troubled. He was constantly in and out of jail and other institutions. So they're both kind of hard times, bad news, and they hatched a plan to rob Joey and Charles. On December 12th, 1982, the two men, along with two of Avery's teenage friends, and these friends didn't know the plan. They just brought them along to hang out.
Oh, surprise!
Yeah, I don't know why you would do this, but they did it. They went to the manor and knocked on the door. Charles greeted them and invited them up to the Pink Room to just not do anything sexual, just drink wine and hang out. Avery also brought a can of what he called Toodaloo, and this is a mixture of alcohol, glue, and paint thinner that they'd put on a rag and then sniff it to get high.
Okay.
They were all hanging out, getting high and drunk when Avery said, I gotta go out to the car and get more Toodaloo. So he leaves, and you have to get out of the Pink Room. You have to climb down a ladder. There's no stairs because obviously it's a chicken coop.
Chickens can't climb ladders.
Well, you don't want chickens climbing up the stairs. The ladder like goes out. You know what I mean? Like it's like out of the building. So he climbs down, goes to the car, only he didn't get more drugs. Instead, he retrieved a rifle that he borrowed from his mom earlier that day. Avery then climbs the ladder back into the chicken coop, and when Charles saw the gun, I mean, I think he's probably drunk, maybe high, he laughs and says, "Bang, bang." Like he thought it was a joke. And I can't really blame him for thinking that because Avery hunted on his property. So I imagine he had brought the gun over plenty of times.
Yeah. Why would you think that something nefarious was about to happen?
No, there's no reason to. This was like a friend, I guess, kind of until now.
Was a friend.
Was. Only it wasn't a joke. Avery lunged across the room, grabbed Charles by the hair, and held a knife to his neck, demanding to know where he kept the fortune. Charles calmly explained that they don't have any money. Like whatever money they do have is in the bank. It's not in the house for you to steal.
Gosh, it was getting that got serious.
It's like
quick.
This story is so happy and whimsical, and then it just takes a sharp right turn. Yeah.
You did warn us. I'll give you that.
Frustrated, Avery rushed into the house to find Joey, who was inside cleaning up after dinner. Almost immediately, gunshots rang out from the house. Avery had shot Joey and the couple's 2 dogs.
No.
Hearing this, Tony, Avery's accomplice, forced everyone out of the chicken coop, and the 2 people they brought were fucking terrified too. And then he also marches Charles into the house. And at some point during all this chaos, they had bumped into the stereo and turned the stereo on. So earlier that day, Charles had recorded himself playing the harp and reciting the poem The Tiger by William Blake. He was creating this to give to a friend, but it was still in the stereo. And so, like, I don't know, it's just so creepy that during all this carnage, this like eerie song is playing over it. It's like a movie. So I have the audio here. It's 40 seconds, but I think it's worth listening to the whole thing.
Yeah, I would like to hear it.
Go ahead and play that, Alec.
It is literally like a movie. It's like a horror movie.
Yeah.
When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry?
So that was playing as Charles was forced to step over his dead dogs toward his slain partner as Avery and Tony continued to demand money that he didn't have and couldn't give them. When Charles saw Joey laying on the floor, he went against his captor's orders by stepping toward his long-term partner. He just obviously wanted to be by him. Anguished, his last words were, "I asked for this," before he was shot by Tony.
What?
Yeah, so what we think he probably meant by these words was he was taking responsibility for what happened to Joey because he was the one that invited Avery and Tony into the manor. And this is pure speculation, but to me, like, I almost think like maybe Joey knew these guys were bad news, but Charles like was like, "Oh no, like they're fine." Like he just was like a free spirit, like wanted to invite everyone in. And then this is what happened. But eerily, a few months prior to the murder, Charles had painted a portrait of himself gagged with bullets in his head. So some people also think like he was referring to this portrait, like maybe it was a premonition. I don't know. After the murders, Avery and Tony ransacked the house for anything they could. They tried to take the golden harp, but it wouldn't fit in their car. They threatened the 2 teens they'd come with. They told them, like, don't you fucking tell anyone or we'll kill you. And then they fled in Charles's Jeep. So the plan was to flee to Mexico, but this is a giant Jeep with pentagrams on the side. So they're like, okay, like, before we can do that, we need to find something a little bit more inconspicuous. So in Vicksburg, Mississippi, they spotted Kirby Keith Phelps, a 26-year-old Navy lieutenant, sleeping in his Toyota. What's more inconspicuous than a Toyota? They forced him out of his car, and he tried to get away, so they shot him in cold blood and stole the vehicle.
They're just off their rockers.
Yeah.
And you're so right about Toyotas being inconspicuous. I lost my own Toyota in a parking garage and called campus police.
Oh my God. My friend did that too. She called the literal police saying her car was stolen once.
Yeah.
It was just parked
so
away.
Embarrassing.
That is really embarrassing. 4 days went by before a friend stopped by the manor and discovered the crime scene. When police entered the house, they found a bloody scene complete with overturned furniture. And then, of course, you know, the couple had satanic books, satanic statues, BDSM paraphernalia, all these details, along with the fact that, you know, they're gay Satanists in Georgia, made this case a media circus. Meanwhile, Tony and Avery ended up having a falling out and split up. But now, like, they're out on their own. They have no money or connections and just turn themselves into the police. They're like, we have nowhere to go, nothing to do.
At that point, you have to stick together. You're in this forever. Like,
right, but they're fucking high idiots. Yeah, who murdered a bunch of people. Yeah, so they just had to turn themselves in. Disgustingly, media surrounding the case became more about villainizing the victims than reporting on the perpetrators. Each was charged with murder. So Avery, the murder of Joey and Tony, and then what am I reading? Oh, Avery charged with the murder of Joey and Tony, and then Charles for the murder of Kirby Phelps.
The guy in Mississippi in the Toyota.
I wrote this wrong. Yeah, Avery. Sorry. So Avery killed Joey, and then Tony killed Charles and Kirby. So they're being charged.
I'll tell you what, they're all just names to me.
Very true. Same. And I fucking wrote this. So like I said, reporters are just trying to vilify Joey and Charles. This was the 80s. So satanic panic, homophobia, like all of that is at the forefront.
Yeah.
Tony's defense alleged that Charles had spiked their wine with LSD, and that's why they killed them.
You should be so lucky.
Right. Also, LSD doesn't make you want to kill people, but also there were no traces of LSD found on the wine glasses. So that was a lie. Tony also said the murders were revenge for embarrassment that Avery faced after Charles had earlier performed oral sex on him. We don't know that that's true either. It could be, which
still not okay.
Not okay. Not a great look for Charles because Avery was 17. But we don't know for sure that happened. And also, like, they murdered him. So.
Yeah, they don't really have a good track record.
No, that's not really a great defense anyway. So attorneys also tried to use the excuse that they committed the murders while they were quote unquote bewitched by Charles and that they had seen the golden heart pulsating with an evil light at the time of their crimes. So the defense is just like grabbing on anything they can. Drugs, homophobia,
it was the
devil, witches, like everything they think they can use to rile up the jury and get
like
a favorable.
Children.
Yeah. It's, I mean, luckily this terrible defense full of lies
terrible.
Did not work. Thank God. Which, I mean, again, this is the 80s in Georgia. Like, I could see shit like this working.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it didn't.
They should have. No, not that they shouldn't have. But if they would have called them witches, that would have been the key word. They would have been like,
they probably
not
did.
guilty.
They probably did. And I mean, I don't know if Satanists is any better than witches, like, to this jury. Avery Brock was sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms, while Tony West was given the death penalty, which he later got reduced to life in prison. They will both live out the rest of their days in prison. Joey Odom and Charles Scudder are remembered by their friends for their creativity, warmth, hospitality, and a love of nature and their 2 canine children.
Oh, rest in peace.
R.I.P. Beelzebub. I wish I knew the other one's name.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's make one up. Beelzebub and
Baphomet. But that probably would have been in the article if that was the case. And also rest in peace, Joey and Charles. I know that's what you meant initially, and then I thought of Beelzebub.
Yes.
Parts of Corpsewood Manor still stand, though, but most has been destroyed by arsonists and vandals. But friends of the couple still do their best to maintain the property, which is nice.
Did it go to the state, the property, or what?
I don't know what happened to the property, but it's still there for the most part. I think the only thing that still stands is like a few like remnants of the castle, pretty much. But I do think it's still marked with a sign that says Corpsewood Manor, and you can drive up to it and see it. Of course, there are rumors that it's haunted. Like it said, if you drive up there at night, you'll hear gunshots and dogs barking and all that kind of like typical shit. The lore of it all. But that is the story of Charles Scudder, Joey Odom, and Corpsewood Manor.
Wow. Beautiful and tragic.
Very tragic.
Well-rounded.
Yes, I like that it lured you in with the fun stuff. I wish it would have ended with they had fun there and had a nice life.
A real life horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh. Well, I need a palate cleanser.
Yes.
I need to chug the rest of this glass of wine.
I need to drink some wine too. I've been talking so much. All right, let's hear a quick break, and I'm gonna drink this wine.
Let's hear a quick word from ourselves.
Quick word from ourselves, who are our own sponsors. Bye.
Welcome back, bitches.
Hello. I have more wine.
Good.
To drink.
You needed it. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, you didn't. You're the designated driver.
Yeah, I will not be drinking much wine, but just a sip.
Sippy sip.
Well, within the legal limit, everybody. Don't freak out.
And we do have the breathalyzer still, even though it hasn't been on air since like March.
Yeah, we've stopped pre-gaming these now that we record on weekdays. We get in here at 5 and knock it right out.
We just crank this shit out.
There's no party beforehand.
Do you know how long it's been since I've been hungover after a night classy recording?
Since
long.
Like the first episode.
Yours was like last week, but
what?
The night classy cocktail hour.
Oh my God, don't talk to me about that.
But for me, yeah, it's been a while. Okay, well, anyway, snitches get stitches. Unless you join the Witness Protection Program. The Witness Protection Program, or formerly known as the Witness Security Program, WITSEC, is not ran by the FBI. Common misconception. It's ran by the U.S. Marshals Service, and it was born of the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970. The act stated it would protect witnesses in a response to mafia violence and against those testifying against the KKK. One of the early adopters to the program was Joe Valachi, a member of the Genovese crime family. In the 60s, he exchanged information about the mafia for police protection. This was before the witness protection was ever even a thing, and this case was actually the one that opened the general public's eyes to the goings-on of the mafia. Because before that, we know so much about it now. It's really popular in TV shows and movies, but that was not the case for a very long time.
Now I'm nostalgic for The Sopranos.
Me too. We're going to mention The Sopranos in this episode.
Good. When Alec and I had our big Sopranos kick, we would always shorten food names of Italian food the way they do, and we'd say should we have some spaghetti for dinner?
Spaghetti. One of my future cat names will be Stugatz, which is the name of his boat, which means penis.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Stugatz. There's a shirt on Etsy that I have saved that's one of those I don't even know how to describe it. Like a 90s style shirt that just says like Tony Soprano, and it's Tony holding the orange juice looking like a fucking gremlin in his robe. So that's my future gift to myself.
Good. You should buy it right now. Let's stop recording.
I need to financially recover from my Goodwill spree this weekend. Also, oh my God, I was so stressed out this past week. I got an hour-long massage on Friday immediately after work. I know.
Good for you.
I paid someone to touch me for an hour. It was crazy.
Brave.
It was brave. It was so good though.
Where'd you go?
God. I went to the place that's called Great Massage.
Well, it's good advertising.
It was.
Yeah,
Yes,
it accurate.
Was a great massage. Good. He laid me down and my back was like
He popped it?
Yeah, he popped it
Wow.
and that's just how my back is. Like,
sir, you're not a chiropractor.
He didn't even have to. That's just how it is on Accutane.
What?
Like my joints, everything is so dry.
Did he scream?
And crackly. He was like, "Oh, very tight," is what he said. I was like, "Yeah, she's tight in a bad way."
Oh my God.
Yeah, but the rest of it was good. How did we get
You're
here?
like bubble pop.
Yeah,
or bubble wrap.
It was like bubble wrap. It was insane. And then towards the end of it, he like took my ankles and like bent me into a crescent moon shape.
What?
Yeah. It was crazy. I was like, I can't breathe, but it feels good.
That's weird. Okay. I'm glad you enjoyed that.
I did. You would have hated it.
I got a massage gift card once and I never used it because it sounds terrifying.
Give it to me.
It's long gone.
She gone. All right. Well, anyway, the eyes of the public were open to the goings-ons of the mafia, and it turns out that offering witnesses protection in exchange for vital information was an extremely appealing way for criminals to spill the tea to law enforcement and for them
get
to
out.
put them away and for them to get out.
Heck
yes.
yeah. My business plan / life plan.
You have a business plan.
Yeah. Would be join the mob, rise in the ranks, and then sell out immediately at the first sign of trouble and go in the witness protection program and live off the government's dime and just like ride around in a golf cart for the rest of my life.
You don't get to live off the government's dime.
Oh,
unfortunately.
Still.
You do for a bit, but
Okay.
it's not that much.
Oh, darn.
You'll still have to work.
Okay. You'll just get a new name and shit.
Yeah.
Not worth
it.
it.
I don't think it's worth it. I think you're doing really well as a teacher.
That's true. I'm doing well enough.
Yeah. It's fine.
It's fine.
I think mafia enrollment has gone way down too.
Probably. I'd probably have I don't know if I'd have a tougher time now or then.
They might be probably suspicious.
Probably equally impossible for me to break into the mafia.
They would look at you and just say, no.
No.
Absolutely not.
Goodbye.
So the guy who invented the witness protection program, his name was Gerald Schur. What?
You're like, his name was Jizz.
I didn't hear that.
I think he's still alive.
She didn't say jizz.
She said
you just wanted to hear jizz.
Is.
Wait, what? I swear you said his name was is.
No, she didn't.
His name Jizz. His name is Gerald Schur. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. Actually, maybe he died in 2020. I don't know.
COVID.
Yeah. But he was Attorney General at the time. He created and ran the witness protection program for 34 years. Ooh. He grew up in a section of New York that was, according to him, mob infested. His dad owned a dress shop that was, quote, friendly with the people he needed to be friendly with.
Well, yeah. Who else is buying tailored suits?
Importing them more likely. Mafia members were at his bat mitzvah, but to him they were just family friends. Until he read in the newspaper that said family friends were suspected of throwing sulfuric acid in a journalist's face.
Oh.
That ignited his interest in the underground world.
Bold of the person who wrote that in the newspaper. Like, you're next, bud.
Yeah, read the room.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's in on this. Like the journalists, the police, the president, like literally everyone.
We're all cool with it. They have good spaghetti sauce.
And the olive oil to die for.
Oh my God, the real stuff.
Do you want to hear something absolutely unhinged, but
Yes.
also I think is extremely justified?
Yes.
I went to an estate sale this weekend and I bought olive oil from the estate sale.
That's disgusting.
It was
Why would you
$2.
Ugh.
It was huge. It's like 20.
Was it one
it's
of those
worth-
like decorative olive oils from like everyone's Tuscany phase in 2005?
No, it was like new Kroger olive oil.
Oh.
It was a big boy. $2.
Unopened?
No.
Haley.
That's disgusting, and I
This
won't
is
be
how you
eating
got
at your
bed
house.
bugs.
Yeah.
No, that
Haley,
was Craigslist.
that's gross.
I trust this person. She had very
No,
good
Haley.
style. I also bought a cat sweater from her.
Okay.
You can judge me if you want.
I'm judging you.
That's okay.
If it were sealed, fine.
I will. Actually, I'm not sure that it wasn't opened. I did not check. There was a lot of olive oil there.
Haley,
I won't cook with that olive oil when you guys come over.
thank
How
you.
about that?
Thank you.
If you think that I'm justified in this, please let me know because I'm feeling
Nobody thinks
severely
that.
judged.
Well-
Tommy thought that. Tommy was proud. He was like, "You just saved us $20."
It's worth the $20 not to have used olive oil from unknown
But
sources.
it's not used. It's not like you recycle the olive oil.
It doesn't matter. It's food. I prefer my food new.
Yeah, I guess I'm just an adrenaline junkie.
What if she opened it, spit in it, and then died?
Yeah. What if she died next to the olive oil?
I mean, for goodness sakes, we all eat at restaurants. We all share cups that are shittily.
Restaurants are sanitary. This olive oil is from some random lady's house who you don't know.
That's true. I'm not scared. I'm ready.
Okay. It's the principle for me. I'm sure it's fine.
And then other people also bought the other olive oils.
Were they
So
open?
I felt justified. I don't know.
Why did she have so much olive oil?
she had like 5?
What if she
I
was
don't
like
know.
That's a
bathing in
lot.
it and pouring it back in the bottle?
She was not. I feel like from the stuff there, I think she was a wealthy woman and she was definitely older because her daughter was there and she was old, talking about how she had bought that sweater for her mom in the 80s, the one that I
Wow.
bought. So I'm like, holy shit, like maybe just every time she went to Kroger, she bought some olive oil because she forgot that she already had 5 at home.
Okay.
We'll run a poll on Instagram. We'll see where
I think
people
we
are
know
on
the
this.
outcome of the poll.
I'm feeling very judged, but that's okay. You know what? I am a unique person in my own right.
You
So-
are.
And this is-
You're whimsical. You're manic pixie dream girl.
Am
Used
I?
olive oil. Yes.
Coming from Kat, who wanted to release bait crickets in our kitchen. So.
I stand by that.
I stand by that too.
Thank you.
See, I have your side.
Yeah.
Fucking bitch. All right. Well, enough with that. That's when Gerald Schur became obsessed with organized crime. He was super interested in it. Another adopter was Joseph the Animal Barboza, who testified against the mafia in the late 60s. He was sent to California with a new identity, but we're pretty sure he killed again, and then he got killed later on. But
He couldn't give up the life.
he couldn't. It's what people are used to. But I will
Yeah.
say, most witnesses who join the program do not reoffend. 95% of them are criminals, making witness protection program a controversial program, as some people see it as the government rewarding bad behavior.
No, they're not really, like you said, they're not really rewarding you. They're letting you get out.
I mean, they're letting you get out of probably going to jail for a really long time.
In exchange for information.
And
that
that's
helps
true.
more.
The conviction rate is 89% of trials that have witnesses in the protection program. So it is highly successful and seemingly worth it to the government. It's been going on since it was founded. So to enter the program, obviously you have to have vital information that you would be in danger as a result of your testimony. So Next, I'm going to go into what to expect when you're expecting to be a witness in witness protection program. There is an orientation you have to go through.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's like college all over again. You also have to sign an 8 to 10 paged list of rules. The main highlight of all of these rules is to be, quote, a good person and live a normal life.
I can do that.
That's like your mom. She's like, just be a good person and live a normal life. Not your mom specifically, but I feel like it's just a mom.
Yeah, my mom never told me that. She said, be a bad person and live a wild life.
Yeah, be a Satanist. Go out and buy used olive oil. Going into the program, you undergo a series of evaluations, including dental, medical, and psychological. It turns out all you have to do to get free health care in the U.S. is become a witness to the mafia.
It's like the casting process of The Bachelor.
It is, but probably
they
lower
take a pregnancy
stakes.
test too.
An STD test to make sure you're all good. New dating show idea. Witness protection love program.
Yes, and all their faces have to be blurred out and their voices modulated.
That's how they create their new lives. You have to be paired with another witness. So they get you. They understand why you can't talk about your past.
And it's like Love is Blind because you can't reveal your true identity even to the person you're dating.
I think we're on to something.
I would watch this show.
I feel
but I would watch
Jesus in
any
this Chili's
show.
tonight.
Okay.
You would watch any show. And for context, when the witness protection program was starting, this was during a time when the government was really cracking down on organized crime for truly the first time, at least in this capacity in like the 60s, 70s. So they were willing to do a lot to get this vital information. There was one guy who wanted to enter the program, but he insisted he needed a self-esteem boost in order to testify.
I insist.
I need someone to look me in the eyes and tell me I'm pretty 38 times before I can go on the witness stand.
Or look him in the one-eyed snake.
No.
The said self-esteem boost was requested in the form of penis surgery because according to him and his psychiatrist, he couldn't have sex and would unalive himself if he didn't get the surgery.
What?
What?
So he got his penile implant and testified and joined the witness protection program.
He was true to his word.
Asking you shall receive.
I love that the
He
psychiatrist
manifested this.
the psychiatrist testified on behalf of this man. He said, I am not fucking around. He will do it. I've seen it. He'll do it.
I want that as my psychiatrist. Ride or die.
Seriously. That is the perfect time to break patient doctor confidentiality. He will do it.
He really will, you guys.
He can have sex. Another instance of surgery while in the witness protection program is the breast implants for Aladana Fratiano, aka Jimmy the Weasel's wife. He joined the witness protection program in 1977 after being indicted for murder and having a hit put out on him. In order to agree to joining the program and testifying, he got the program to agree to pay for his wife's boob job, facelift, and dental work.
Okay, I hope she wanted that.
Me too. Who's to say? Up until the 90s, that was negotiable. But by the 90s, plastic surgery fell out of policy for witnesses.
Oh, really?
It got too expensive.
Why?
After 2 decades of penile implants and facelifts.
Boob jaws. Yeah, why? They dropped out right before Brazilian butt lifts became a real thing.
Oh,
just in
awful
time.
timing. Mm-hmm. Awful timing on their part.
They had just stuck it out a little longer.
All you have to do to get health care and all the plastic surgery you need is witness a horrible crime and be willing to testify and change everything about who you are.
Easy.
It's easy, guys. It's easy. people still have been helped to get surgery through the witness protection program, just not with the taxpayer dollars. So when you enter the witness protection program, you'll be interviewed and your skills will be assessed so they can place you somewhere that you can get a job that makes sense. And of course, a name change is essential, but you don't have to change your first name. They want you to be able to naturally respond when your name is called. So you get to pick a new last name. That's the only requirement, but it has to be completely separate from anyone and anything in your old life, and ethnically it has to make sense. From there, with your new name comes new documents, including a birth certificate and social security card. If you have children entering the program, kids will have all of their old school records reprinted to match their new identity. And there have been many an instance where parents have requested their child's grades be subtly improved on their new documentation.
Of course.
I don't think it's that much of an ask. It's a huge...
No,
I'm sure
everyone wants to start off on the right foot.
you have to have a win-win-win.
Right.
And
you can ask anything. That's going to be on the list.
Yeah, they're like, Mom got a boob job.
I want to be in physics.
They're not asking to be valedictorian. I mean,
No.
going into the program has got to be traumatic.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
like,
I think
at the very
that's
worst.
whatever. Yeah.
Give
who
me your
cares?
3.5. Like, come on.
When you get a new student, you get their grade report from their last school. And I just imagine like all these teachers getting like a straight A report and being like, oh, this kid's going to be a rock star.
And then
this is going to be
themselves.
so good. And then straight D's.
Absolutely.
And their
You're
mom has double D's. And you're like, wow, D's really running the family.
like, D's. D's what?
D's get
nuts.
degrees.
We went different directions there. Once you have your new name, you'll work with a U.S. Marshal to create a believable history for yourself. You'll also go through coaching on talking about this created history and be able to change the subject when somebody asks about your past life. The FBI has a business called backstopping that creates fake employment history and credit reports for their undercover agents, and it's speculated that the Marshals for Witness Protection Program do either the same thing or something similar for their witnesses. As far as where you'll be living, that's also included in the interview. What you do is, much like Teach for America, you give them a list of your top preferences. But unlike Teach for America, whichever place you explicitly tell them you want to go, they absolutely will not send you there.
Oh, interesting. Why?
They assume that if it's a place you want to go, then before you join the program officially, you told loved ones and your friends a few of the options that you were going to tell your marshal.
But this information is Googleable. So now wouldn't people not tell them?
How is it Googleable?
Because you know it.
What?
I don't know what you're saying.
You said whenever, like what you tell them, where you tell them you want to go, you won't go there.
Yes.
But if I were being interviewed for the Witness Protection Program, I would Google what to expect when entering the Witness Protection Program. And so I wouldn't tell them where I actually wanted to go for my first choice.
So true. And that's only applicable for really the last 20 years out of the 50-ish years that it's been around.
Yeah.
They may not even ask anymore. So you could say the opposite of places that you want to go.
Yeah.
That might be a good tactic. I thought about that
You
while I
could
was
do that
researching.
like roulette thing. Like TFA has an option where you can click like, I don't care, send me anywhere.
Random.
I'm so random. No, I didn't do that. But I wonder if you could do that. I'm sure you could for the Witness Protection Program. Just send me somewhere and
Like, as long as I have
wherever you want.
my penile implant and my wife gets her triple E's, we'll be happy.
Wherever you want to eat tonight, it's fine.
It's fine. No,
fine.
I'm not feeling Mexican.
Ooh, I am.
Mexican queso sounds really good right now.
Ooh, Alec and I have a burrito HelloFresh. Maybe we should make that
Ooh,
tonight. We also have a
burrito.
nacho mac and cheese HelloFresh. Maybe we should make that tonight.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I ate dinner before I came and now I'm getting hungry all over again. You just shut up,
Come
shut
eat
up,
with us.
shut up.
Can I ask a quick question? What are you changing your last name to on the spot here today?
Sancha.
Oh,
Holly
easy.
Sancha.
Yeah, Severa.
Hayley Sancha and Kat Severa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
At the wedding, they pulled her name from Instagram, which uses her middle name. So on the thing, it said Kat Winter. And I was like, that's a cool stage name.
I don't know if they'd let me use my middle name.
They wouldn't. But
yeah.
non sequitur wise,
Yeah,
cool
maybe
name.
I'd go like Summer, but that's not really a last name.
Kat Summer.
Cat Summer. Sounds
Sounds
like a
fake.
romance novel.
It does. Maybe I would do so Safdie's full name. This is so stupid. Because you guys were watching Survivor Gabon when we first got the cats, and my middle name is Malone. Safdie's full name is Safdie Malone Gabon. So maybe I'd be Hayley Gabon.
That's perfect. And then, yeah.
What if I tried to give them my name, which is Turbo, and they're just like, sir, you can't be Al Turbo?
They're like, sir, it has to match ethnically.
You are not a superhero.
When I look at you, I don't think Turbo.
Well, my friends on a podcast call me Ted Turbo, so I thought I could be Al Turbo.
What would yours be if it couldn't be Turbo?
I think I'd look up some cool Irish name. Like the guy who played Obi-Wan Kenobi, he was Alec Guinness. And I've always thought that was a cool name.
That
Are
is a
you
cool
Irish?
I am Irish, English, Scottish. So,
White boy?
Yeah.
name. Yeah. At a wedding Alec and I went to recently, it was like a very Irish wedding, and I ran into one of my friends from college there.
Her
And
roommate.
My roommate.
Crazy.
And she was telling me her dad's side of the family is Irish, and her mom's side is Irish, and her mom's side is Mexican. And I was like, oh wow, you have the party on both sides. Like those
Yeah.
are two fun cultures. I'm fucking German and
They party.
Scandinavian but like the two stuffiest fucking ethnicities, I feel like.
I feel like they party, but for different reasons.
Oktoberfest is party.
That's true. Oktoberfest
Yeah.
is, they party in Bavaria, but I'm from North Germany. I don't know if they party.
They seem strict.
They're uptight.
I'll get back to you on my name, though. Maybe
Yeah.
if Guinness is already taken, what's another beer?
Corona.
That doesn't match ethnically.
Doesn't
Heineken.
match.
Dos
I just
Equis.
have the most fake name. My name's Alec
Yeah.
Dos Equis.
Your name is like Chardonnay Svedka.
Yeah, I'm
Yawn.
Sauvignon. I'm
Sauvignon.
Sauvignon
That's
Golden
great.
Goose.
I'm Dos Equis Sauvignon. I'm from Hollywood, Florida.
Great goose. Yeah.
My name is Dr. Boda Box. We've got a plan. We're ready.
Yeah. Let
We're
us
ready.
in.
I'm just, the only thing I'm not ready for is the trauma.
Oh, there's trauma?
No, I mean, I would assume so if you have vital enough information for the U.S. Marshals to enter you in witness protection program.
Yeah.
There's got to be trauma attached, right?
Probably.
Or maybe it's just hysteria. Well, anyway, once you give them your list of preferences of places you'd like to go, they will make sure you have a furnished home, schools nearby if you have children, and any religious institutions that may be suitable for your liking. You won't have to cut contact with loved ones completely. Witnesses can send and receive letters through a secured mail program. They can also call old family members on special lines, but each witness protection program family is assigned a U.S. Marshal. And when they're under dangerous circumstances, such as showing up to court, the U.S. Marshal is with them, guarding them, at least one of them, 24/7. And for example, witnesses have been delivered to testify by armored trucks, mail trucks, undercover, like in a box, helicopters, and even fishing boats. But after the danger has cleared, you can just check in with your marshal annually. Why can't I talk? Am I drunk? Anyway. And if you do receive letters through the secret mail, you're not allowed to keep them. Once you read them, you have to give them back to your U.S. Marshal. And you do quite literally have to leave all of your things behind. That includes photo albums, diaries, any mementos. But you can count on some type of normalcy. If you're from a small town, then you'll be placed in a small town. If you're a city dweller, you will be placed in a city. They don't want you sticking out at all. Local law enforcement is made aware of your presence, so they know, and the recidivism rate for witness protection program members is relatively low, especially compared to ex-convicts. So law enforcement just needs to know, if you get arrested, kind of what the deal is as to not blow any cover. And until you secure a job, witness families are paid about $60,000 for up to 6 to 12 months. And if you aren't aggressively pursuing employment, then they'll end your stipend payments.
It's a pretty good stipend.
I'd say so.
Do they pay for where you live too?
Yeah. So you just get to pursue employment, figure out your new life, practice your backstory.
This sounds pretty good. I'm back on board to join.
It's not worst case scenario. And to bring it back to The Sopranos, I really wish, what is her name? Christopher. What's her name?
Adriana.
She was playing with witness protection program.
Hayley, you're spoiling the show. Alex is going to yell at you.
There's no spoilers yet, but
That is a
Soprano spoiler. Moving forward.
Yes.
Turn it off now.
I'm not going to say anything else. But well, maybe that is a spoiler. I think it's always a good idea if provided the opportunity to go into the witness protection program.
Well, yeah, her FBI agent's fucked up.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
That's on them.
Christopher.
Oh, I love her.
Me too. You guys need to be Christopher and Adriana for Halloween.
We do.
Yeah. Anyway, there are witnesses who don't stick to their new lives. Daniel La Poya returned to Connecticut in the 70s to attend a funeral. When he swung by his own house, his old own house, he didn't predict that it would have been booby-trapped.
What?
He was instantly killed when he unlocked the door and a bomb went off.
What?
Yes.
The mob is fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you presumably take a blood oath, and the first rule is like Fight Club. Like, you don't fucking talk about it.
Yeah. He fucked up.
And he fucked up by going back not only to his own town, but his old house. Like, they caught him in a trap, not to victim blame or anything, but like, there's a reason why they have these rules.
Yeah.
Yes.
Follow the rules, people.
There have been several witnesses who defaulted to what they knew. They used their new identities to rack up crazy amounts of debt and then told their U.S. Marshals that they had been spotted in their new city.
Smart.
It was pretty smart. I mean, what else could they do? They're then relocated, given another new identity, and escaped their debtors.
Wait, that's so smart.
Well, it worked for a while. These cases are on the rare side, but at one point in time, there were 32 different witnesses who had racked up a collective $7.3 million in debt, which led officials to threaten to reveal their identities to the debtors.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
But what are they going to do? They can threaten them all day. They're not really going to fucking do it.
It worked for them, yeah.
You're not going to ruin the whole witness protection program for the credit card company.
I think it's worth it. Again, I'm going to go back to the trauma. Some people go to therapy. Some people go to retail therapy.
Oh, I do both.
Me too. It's therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
There are several times TV and movie actors have had real ties to the mafia. Tony Sirico, who played Paulie Walnuts in The Sopranos, was one of them. And although he did not enter the witness protection program by 1990, he had 28 arrests to his name, barely beating his 27 acting jobs at that point in time. Another actor, Henry Hill, acted in Goodfellas, and he did end up in witness protection program for real life protection after his testimony jailed his mobster friends. Hill, his wife, and his 2 children entered the program in the 80s. Their new lives were started in Redmond, Washington, where Hill...
My grandpa and my mom met him and got a signed cookbook from him.
What?
He lived in Washington.
While he was in this protection program?
I don't know if it was I'm pretty sure it was him.
Probably.
One of the Goodfellas gangsters who was a real gangster made a cookbook and did like signings, and so they met him.
Interesting. I mean, There are a lot of people in Goodfellas who have real life ties to the
But it
mafia.
was like the main guy, and that was, I think, him.
Could have been.
I don't know.
Could have been.
But we have that cookbook somewhere, I think, at my mom's house.
Oh my God. Please ask her to send in a
Yeah.
picture. I need to see it. So in Washington, he met a lady who wasn't his wife, Sherry Anders. And long story short, Hill ends up marrying Sherry with his new name and identity. Hill's first wife found out about it, and the two women confronted him together. But then Sherry went back on her word and refused to end her marriage with Hill.
No.
The family ended up getting kicked out of witness protection program.
And then he wrote a cookbook.
How to cook up some fucking drama. They were kicked out based upon continued arrest. So there are some people who do not follow the program rules. However, 82% of witnesses in the program never commit a crime ever again. Around 20,000 people have entered the program, and it cost about $10 million per year. Recidivism rates are about 10 to 17% depending on the study and data, which is, again, relatively low compared to people paroled from prison at about 61%. And that is my lesson on the witness protection program.
That was fun.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. My favorite part was talking about Sopranos.
Me too. I want to go home and watch Sopranos.
Me too. I think that might just be one of my shows that I start watching all the time.
I'm trying to watch it. Like, I'm trying to take a long break from it enough to forget some of it so it can feel like I'm watching it anew, you know?
I think I'm just going to burn it into my retinas.
Yeah.
I think that's my tactic.
It's
like
so
The Office.
good.
Yeah.
It's
That's
a
my
good
plan.
comfort show.
It is, especially now that I know what's happening. I don't have to wonder anymore.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know if I am a total freak or not about the olive oil. And I'm getting nods from everyone in the room. There has to be at least one other person out there on my side. So
Somebody is, and they're wrong.
if that's you, then let me know.
Yeah. Did you guys know you can now comment on episodes on Spotify?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that. I've
Well, I
sent you
guess I
screenshots.
did.
You
Yeah.
did. But do that. Tell us about the olive oil. There'll probably also be an Instagram poll if we remember.
I'll remember. I made a note.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Well, as always, thank you for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Send this episode to your friends. If you enjoyed it, just copy and paste that link. Send it along, even if you don't think they'll listen. It's good
worth a try.
It's good for the algorithm. So do that. And we love you so much. Thank you. And 3, 2, 1. Class dismissed.